Thank you, everybody, for joining us today in Greece Race. We're going Racing News, and a platform that is driving forward the electrification um, forward into the air, ocean, and roads. And today we're thrilled to have Rodi. Rodi, I understand that you are a key player on these type of races, and we are really interested about your championship. And yeah, could you please tell us a little bit more about what's your role and what you're trying to do here in this with this championship?
Thank you, Juan, for your question. Well, of course, when you have such a big vision and such a big project, there are no key players. You need a big team. You need to team up with the right people, and that's the first thing that I had the pleasure and the luck to do by meeting up with Alejandro and then meeting incredible people on my journey so far. And so this is where we are uh, by having built a very strong team of competence and cool people. In the meantime, everything started on the banks of the Thames River here in London, where there was the pandemic, like it was May 2020, and we were discussing with Alejandro, brainstorming about different ventures and businesses. And in particular, he was mentioning to me a startup he had invested into, which is called Cyber Technologies Limited. So London-based startup. And this startup wants to build a sharing model for leisure boats in order to democratize the use of water mobility and the enjoyment of being on the water. So Alejandro was asking me some questions about the technology on the material side, the carbon fibers, the sustainable carbon fiber use and reuse, and especially the electrification. I have met Alejandro when I was leading the team developing the battery for the Generation 2 in Formula E, and this is where we built our friendship and collaboration. So when Alejandro was asking me these questions, I immediately thought to have an opportunity here of building a racing platform, so a marketing and technology platform, in order to build experience on this topic and to then develop ex ante a commercial use, a product use, like the Seabird will be. And so that's where everything started. This was only May 2020. And from that moment onwards, in a year and a half, we were in Monaco only 2 weeks ago to show the world our powerboat, Racebird, which has provided incredible feedback from everyone.
Interesting, Roddy. Well, from the perspective of DHL, we see these type of platforms as the right environment to develop technologies, to innovate, to disrupt. Just looking backwards in 2010, you didn't have electric vehicles, and DHL had a vision to develop a vehicle, but because it was not easy, you don't go to an OEM and ask them for an electric vehicle. What I like from what you're saying here, Roddy, is you are creating that environment. You are creating this platform to bring these technologies, to bring this disruption, and also the players like us, like DHL, that are really interested, in the decarbonization of our operations in a long term, are going to interested in have a look at what you guys are developing. Could you tell us, Roddy, more about that and what are the technologies you are working on that at the moment?
Well, thank you for this question because I am a strong believer of the combination of sport and technology. And when this combo works, it can provide incredible opportunities to raise awareness, to develop technologies that will be the core of the final products and solutions. So the other third point, since you were counting, is also showing the world that you can enjoy with the new technologies, with a new way of experiencing the mobility on water. You can still enjoy the water, have fun, and be more respectful about this important element and ecosystem we have on the planet. So I start from this forward. I mean, this is my principle, and this is why I'm involved in motor racing since more than 20 years now. So what we are doing is, I believe we are innovating. We are innovating by a technology standpoint, an engineering standpoint, and a business model standpoint. In terms of technologies, we are not reinventing the wheel, but we are using the state of the art of the existing technology proven in high-end automotive, motor racing, sailing, and powerboat. So we are mixing these worlds, and our challenge is the integration and the coexistence of these technologies in a new environment and in a new use case like the water mobility, in particular the racing of water is. So that's on the technology side. Of course, the integration is an engineering challenge, and we are surrounded by incredible partners like Victory Marine and Mercury Racing and Navico, and more are coming, of course, because they are realizing that there is something here. And on the business model side as well, we are focusing, we are for sure a sport. We are focusing our effort on the entertainment, on the excitement, on the events, of getting the best combination between the technical and technological content and the format and the all the experience that the fans and the people on site will have while following our races. And so also on that side, we are trying to get the best from all the industries and the worlds that we know in order to have a very strong product. So why you want to do this? For sure, we are a business, so we want to grow, we want to expand as much as possible. We are a world championship. As many people now know, we have an exclusivity for 25 years for any world electric powerboat series. So we are the only one who can build a championship like this at all level with existing or non-existing technologies. But the real reason why we do this is because we believe that in this specific era, and we have seen this in automotive a lot, there are either strong paradigms or strong interests that are blocking an essential, a very important change that all humanity needs to do, which is moving towards a reduced impact. So I don't like when people go too much to the extreme. Of course, this is done because there is a sense of urgency. So I fully understand this. But what I reckon the racing can bring on top of technology, business model, and all the rest is the approach, and the approach of continuous improvement. So within our vision, we will measure the impact that we will provide to the venues while hosting the races. And venue by venue, year by year, season by season, we will try to do our best to improve the efficiency and reduce the impact as much as possible. So I believe we owe this to the future generation. We want our kids and to be proud of us, and we want to play our part in this journey.
I, I, I I really feel what you're saying, Rodi, and I support you. I'm a strong supporter, and DHL is a strong supporter of this type of initiative, especially because you are a pioneer. These type of things are disrupting the traditional ways of doing this. I remember back in the time when Alejandro created the E1 series, I mean the electric series, uh, and the vehicles at the beginning they had to recharge, but at some point the vehicles were able to compete the entire loops without recharging the vehicle. So now it's because the platform and the technologies were evolving and developing, and the players into these type of championships were bringing their concerns, saying, "This is what I'm expecting to." So that's what I believe you are trying to create with this electric powerboat championship. But not only that, I also see that your plans are to expand this series globally, if I am understanding correct. You have the rights for the next 25 years, so you're planning to take this to other seas, right? To
Oh
drive
yeah.
forward this electro revolution. Can you tell us more about that, your plans on that regards, Rudy?
Absolutely. So, since we are humble, we are targeting only 10 cities or location in general in the first season. But we are talking with 70 cities.
Wow.
So we have been engaging a different level of conversation with 70 potential venues to host a race. Of course, it's an impossible challenge, but this is, I mention this because it's a testament of the need, the sensitivity to the topic, and the strong belief that there is a fan base, there is a huge audience interested in gathering up again, especially after the pandemic, have fun, be close to the shores, be close to the water, and see something new, something which smells future, that looks like future. And this is really a strong motivation for us. In terms of more concrete results that we are already enjoying and celebrating, out of the 10 races, 4 are already decided. So we will be in Saudi, in Monaco, in Rotterdam, and in Budapest. And I would like to mention, of course, we are super excited about all of them because they are iconic places. Monaco is for us a place of the heart because they welcomed our vision from the very beginning. And it is a place representing not only the beauty of nature and the water, but also the sensitivity on the importance of technology innovation in order to protect this beauty. So it's not only about staring and enjoying it, but it's also doing something about it. And I have to say, this is something that I strongly have learned from Alejandro, who's super active, Alejandro Aga, of course, super active from the beginning with this incredible track record on this, being active, do something instead of, speculating about what to do next. Of course, I mentioned Monaco, but I could mention all of the others. Saudi is important for us for the support of our investor, which has been fundamental. Rotterdam is another incredible places where we will race during the World Port event, which is a annual weekend once per year, where 450,000 people join around the shore, around the port, to enjoy all the activations that the city provides, and E1 Series will be one of those. Then, of course, if I think about Budapest as well, the scenery and the story of the city, and also the opportunity to show that we can be also on rivers as well as we can be on lake and everything. Again, it will be a fantastic symbol of how you can either enjoy or use the water mobility for moving people around.
I like what you're mentioning, Rodi, especially with the plans, ambitious plans to expansion, 70 venues. I mean, you're starting with 10, but just imagine when you create this type of venues, you need the engagement of the governments, right? And what better way to create the awareness that you were mentioning before with the audience, public, and new generations to be part of these plans to win their trust? How do you see the two components about this that I want to mention about that? It's safety and performance. What can you tell us about that in terms of uh, racing in this electric powerboat championship?
Well, first of all, we have this is first of all a very strong point and something we will invest and focus from the beginning. Actually, we are focusing on it because we are in the process of developing the powerboat, and I have hired incredible people with experience on safety on board, and we have the collaboration of classification society and experts worldwide in order to make sure that the standards will be the highest possible. So this is absolutely. And when I talk about communication and awareness, we have to show that the people that you can use safely a power boat or a leisure boat. And so for us is a huge tick box that we have to achieve and sign off. So for sure, this is super important. But I particularly like your question also for other aspects, because one of the strong points of our vision is about the legacy. And when I talk about legacy, I think of one of the examples that we bring to the local authorities. We offer to the local authorities to keep the chargers that we use for racing. So they can install these chargers in the ports, in the harbors, and show the people, the citizens, that they can start thinking of buying an electric rig or an electric leisure boat, because they won't be let down by the local authorities, but they can actually charge their their vessels and enjoy the electric mobility. So this is one of the aspects. And then I can think of many other things. The way we will move our powerboat around will be key. So we have to show that it's not only a onboard or inboard efficiency, but
Right.
we are trying to look at the bigger picture. So from the freight to the way we will pop up our paddock club, to the way we will showcase technologies, because we also will bring a festival of technologies where we will let big corporate and local startups to showcase what they do in terms of mobility, electric mobility, water healing, and water exploration. So you see, this is all part of a broader sustainability piece, which is looking at the environment for sure, social impact, helping local startups and businesses to gain visibility, and governance in terms of overall control of the projects.
Let me build up on what you just mentioned, Rory, about legacy, because this is a long-term plan. And when you think about long-term plan, you think about a long-term sustainability roadmap. DHL is very interested on that type of approaches because from a ocean perspective, one of the biggest contaminators are the current mode of transportation, the vessels that we're using. And what you're proposing here, it's not a long term, it's not a short distance trip, Your races aims to apply technologies for long distances, I assume. Can you tell us more about that, Roy?
Yeah, fair point again, Juan, and thank you for the question. So to address this, we will forbid any air freight to start with, and we will build a number of sets of powerboat depending on how the distribution of the championship will be. So we have a set of powerboat for Europe, UK, anyway that can be reached on land. Okay.
Right.
Then we will use the Extreme. We will collaborate with the Extreme, and we will have another set of powerboat that will go around with the Extreme Championship, and will race on the same journey as in some location of the same path, the Santa Elena, which is the 105-meter ship, will go through. So in this way, we offset the carbon, because of course the Santa Elena will then deliver two championships, not just one. And we again avoid using the air freight, which of course could cause more emission than other mean of transport. Another vision and another tool that we may use is if we, as we see in some areas of the world, if we see that the interest is building any further, we may think of having another set of powerboat in some specific area. So I think about, for example, Asia, or I think about, so we will try to optimize the transport, the freight, in order to make sure that the balance between building new boats and the impact on the transport will be optimized as much as possible. So it's a delicate equation, because of course, meanwhile, the technology is evolving, and so we have to keep track of what's happening in the world. But we will definitely look into this, and having conversation with companies like with groups like DHL will be for sure a great support.
Absolutely. DHL has announced 7 billion euros investment from here to 2010. So more than happy to have this conversation on a side. But for the audience that we have here today, Rodi, tell us what are the challenges that you foresee at the moment in the short term to facilitate this expansion of the electrification?
So I would say that the engineering partners and the people we have in the team, let's say that, I mean, they make me sleep at night because we will have challenges, but I know that in terms of engineering the powerboat, we have the right assets, which in the end is people, to deliver. Nevertheless, we will have challenges in this integration process because we, as I mentioned earlier, we are converging different technologies from different industries, and there will be some areas where we will have to we'll have to pay more attention. On the other side, the other big challenges that I see, I just mentioned two as an example that popped up in my mind. One is the standards and the link, the connection to the local infrastructure. So this will require a lot of study and a lot of attention in order to have the smoothest. As I say, our event needs to be low impact.
Right.
So we want to show up and make sure that, I mean, we are close to a plug and play kind of activity. But to get there, we will have to work and study and engineer our side very carefully. So that's not an easy exercise. And this is for, let's say, urbanized venues and location. But if we go to Greenland, if we go to remote places, of course, the challenge will be multiplied by 10.
Oh yeah.
So again, we drove here, so we absolutely decided to be and to embrace these kind of challenges. But again, given the feedback that we have, I think it will be definitely worth all the sweating and the head scratching that we will have in the next few months.
Interesting. No, I'm going to pick up as well on what you just mentioned before about the infrastructure. That you're planning to leave the charging infrastructure on the venues that you're going to compete. Is it my understanding correct?
That's correct. Let me add that we will offer the chance to the local authorities to keep the charges. So of course we won't impose anything to anyone, but this is an option that we want to offer to whoever is going to host us.
And what a better way to tackle the dichotomy of what is first, the infrastructure or the solution, right? So you're providing these type of options to the governments or the entities where you're going to run your races. So you're just simply facilitating that decision to well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. With the excuse of racing and having fun around a sport event, we want to bring something that is very heavy and important. And this is coming straight from the lesson learned in the automotive world. Okay. So the point that everyone is complaining about before making the jump into an electric vehicle is the lack of infrastructure. We want to start from the infrastructure. So we take that huge box and then we think about all the rest. Because again, it won't be a walk in the park, as they say in UK, but it will be an interesting challenges which we will address again with everything that we have learned in other fields. And that's the best way to accelerate the electrification roadmap, which is so strongly needed in the marine industry.
Rodi, in the United States, we are a very marine country when you talk about East Coast and West Coast. Miami, especially where I'm based now. Is there any plan for you guys to approach the U.S. government or U.S. cities to expand your races?
Well, we are talking with North America, so Miami is one of the target, of course, for 1,000 good reasons. And yeah, in general, we speak with local authorities, so the local government, and I mean the initial stage of the conversation are more than positive. So I think I'm gonna come over there and see you in person, hopefully very soon.
Hopefully. I mean, remember our headquarters are here in Miami, so we'll be more than happy to start this type of conversation, sponsoring your races, and also connect with the governments, to win the trust of the people and the awareness of the audiences. Can you tell us
Fantastic.
more about the some technicalities about these races? Like, does it create noise or not? Does it create some, like some benefits about the impacts that you're having? Tell us more about that technicalities, if you can.
So of course, I mean, you mentioned the noise, and I had a bit of a pause because actually everything started from the noise or actually the silence. I'm very passionate sailor, and one of the best moments for me when I go sailing is the moment when I'm out of the harbor and I switch off the engine, and you get into the motion that is only due to the sails, and it's absolutely a magic moment. We won't make noise. I mean, the noise will be very much reduced compared to a thermal engine. And for me, this is one of the elements of respect towards nature. So it's incredibly important because then people will be able to connect more with the water, with the element. And the noise is one of the part that is actually covering the interaction of the vessel with the water. So this won't be the maybe people who never went to sail on a sailing boat, but only on power boats, they never heard what the noise of water is. And so we give again back the importance to this element, which is the most important bit for us. So
Interesting.
this is one side. The other part that I'd like to share with you is the difference, the technical difference between adopting a thermal engine or an electric motor. So since we are based on sail and on foil, and the electric motor by definition has got a very high torque density. So you get all the torque that you want instantly. This will allow us, and we will have to test and calibrate this aspect, to jump off the water very, very quickly because we will have a lot of torque available immediately. So I reckon this will provide a positively dramatic element to the acceleration during the race. And since we will be based on a lot of change of direction and so some sort of hairpin style corner, all this acceleration from the water to the air, basically, or to the architecture of the foil, will be again the symbol of the acceleration of the electrification roadmap that we want to pursue and assure.
Very nice. It caught my attention because minutes ago I was interviewing airspeeder, and they were mentioning noise is the biggest concern for them. But when you think about air and mobility areas, urban areas, that is a concern. In your case, I would say it's even better for the people to understand that this is not going to create contamination on audits. And this is type of technologies that I'm curious to learn a bit more about what are the difference, why the noise is creating or not. On the electric vehicles as well, it's not polluting. They are not creating any noise whatsoever on the races. So yeah, I was just curious about it. Roddy, I truly hope to see you in Miami or in United States, anywhere you wanna visit us, and hopefully try to create more engagement with your races. And yeah, looking forward to hear more about the upcoming races in the next championships.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for this conversation. I really enjoyed it, and of course, I also do look forward to seeing you in USA and come over to have exciting city events and exciting races.
Thank you, Roddy, and thank you for the audience for connecting. Hopefully, you guys found something interesting about this conversation, and looking forward to see you soon.
See you soon. Thank you.